It's time for Class Racing Today, the podcast for the NHRA class racing fan. Welcome back to Class Racing Today, classracingtoday.com, classracingtoday@gmail.com. It has been a few weeks of summer. The dog days of summer, is that what we call this? Have been upon us. Brian's decided to put some gasoline in that motor, and fire that baby up. So he's been out and about running around. We have a guest on with us, a standard regular guest that we're going to call him.
What do they call that in like the news? The affiliate,
Maybe.
local expert.
There it is. Perfect. Force Speed Johnny is back with us. What is going on?
Well, just got back late last night and got unloaded and went to work today, and now I'm back in my shop here so I can finish cleaning things up and hopefully get some work done yet tonight.
Wait, you're supposed to unload?
yeah. The life of the
leave it
sportsman
sitting in
drag racer. It's not as glorious as one would think it's supposed to be, but
I actually had I haven't used my car in a year, and my batteries, I wanted to pull them out, and Go Lithium are a pretty awesome company, and they're like, wasn't sure if I had an issue with my charger, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get started for the year now that it's almost over, and they said, hey, just leave them here, pull them out, leave them here, we'll check them over and overnight them to you. So I pulled my batteries out, give my charger, so I can't even technically start my car to back it out of the trailer. So
talk about this. So last time we were on the show here, you had no real idea other than it's soon that your engine was going to be ready to drop back in the car. How'd it go? What happened?
I don't know if I want to relive it. It was a good process, but we went and I dynoed, let's see. Yeah, a week ago Thursday, went dynoed it. And that really turned into Friday evening. So I got home Saturday, a week ago Saturday, with the motor and had to get started. But as my shop is currently under construction, I have no cement. So I have a good friend that was going to help me out with that. And kind of got everything rammed together. Supposed to leave Wednesday morning, and we fired the car for the first time about 6 o'clock. Had a few little
AM or PM?
PM. Had a few little gremlins.
Excellent.
Went to test drive it and didn't have reverse or third gear. So
you're drag racing. You go that direction. Why do you need reverse?
I want top gear.
No, the third gear. I get that, but the straight part.
So yeah, we thrashed away until about 10 o'clock at night, and then headed to Brainerd because we had a race in the morning. So that was a lot. Like, I know how Johnny feels now. Like, I don't know anybody that works as hard as Johnny, and I probably only worked half as hard as him.
Well, you're leaving a lot of the story out there, Brian, and I only know the overall version, the little bit that I talked to you on the phone. But and I think it's important to mention you had a lot of help from a lot of folks to make it to the race, and you ended up having some troubles at the race, but got it figured out. But I know Lance and the crew over at Line Performance really helped you out on the dyno to get it figured out and running, and then Chris and his crew there at Chris Craft in Watertown helped you get the motor swapped, and then swap the transmission right at the last instant. So, and then when you were at the racetrack, who was it that found the loose ground wire in the back of the head?
I actually did, but I probably owe that to Jason DeForest because I actually found it. I was ready to go home. I'm just like, this is dumb if I can't change anything. And I thought it was something in the ignition. So long story short, we go to test the car before I go in the trailer to go to Brainerd, which I'm glad I did. Chris is driving and it shifts from first to second. Awesome. Won't go into third. We stop. We're going to back up and drive to the shop. Reverse is slipping. We're like, well, this ain't going to work. So called Leo. He was pretty good. We talked through some things that might be, a gasket or something, just something goofy. You know how the new car stuff, everything's a little different. Threw Old Reliable in and we got to the track, but first pass, kind of breaking up, just not running right. And I thought it was in the tune, so I was playing with that and just, you never know. There's so many different spots to look. Well, then help from Lines again came over, and after the losing class first round, he said, it's got to be in the ignition. So I call Chris, and I have an extra set of coils, but at 10 o'clock at night, I didn't think, hey, I'm going to grab the extra harness and coils just in case. That was the only thing we changed from the dyno was the coils. And he's like, well, you know how many Chevy pickups are at Brainerd International Raceway right now? Like literally the ignition and the harness and everything are the exact same. Go out to the parking lot and just take something.
Borrow it.
And I was gonna go home. I'm like, if I didn't change anything, it's not working. Like, this is just dumb. Like, if I'm not changing anything, there's no reason to go down the track. Well, I actually woke up at like 6 in the morning. I thought, I'm just gonna look at the harness to see what it is. And started following wires, and somehow the one eyelet on the right hand side of the block, the bolt was in it. It just didn't get tightened sometime between all of the thrashing away. Tighten that up, put new plugs in it. Thought, well, at least I changed something. I'm going to get data, see what happens, dial the index, and yeah. But I went to Jason DeForest because he's like, you're here. Just somebody will have parts, fix it. Don't give up. Like, you're already here. Keep going. But I was literally ready to pack up Thursday. I'm just like, this is dumb. But
Peter Lancier's on Facebook. Says, congrats, John.
Yeah, thanks, Pete. I did manage to accomplish something that I hadn't done yet, which was win class. I only had one car in my class, and James Findell was nice enough to change class, add weight to his car so that we could have a competitor in G-Stick. And neither one of us made a very good pass during class. I actually made a lot better passes later in the day after I figured out my new old clutch setup. But anyway, I had it hopped up and did an okay job and managed to win a class Wally. So yeah, that's a first for me. So
awesome.
It is pretty cool though how everybody at the track's willing to be helpful. Like I said, it took a lot of things to make things go, and I didn't want to give up, but there's times where I'm like, man, this is dumb, but I need to get data. I need to go down the track. And the hardest part, the first time I pulled in the water box, like, how do I do a burnout?
Did you forget?
I almost didn't push the line lock. Like, it was so dumb. Like, I pumped the brakes, I let off, like, wait a minute, I got to push this little red button. Let's try her again. Like, it was like riding a bike. It kind of came around. And I will say, going into first round, no idea. I hadn't made a pass down the track, and thought, well, at least we're gonna get data. We're here for a good time. So, and as soon as that thing launched, I'm like, I think we found the problem. And it was pretty cool when first time down the track, you go faster than the cars ever went. So, even though I went red, I mean, most people would be pretty disappointed, but I giggled the whole way down that we finally, perseverance got through there and found it, and I think we'll have a pretty good piece.
Speaking of the
you ran it all the way out
track.
on that pass, Brian. And
what was that?
You ended up going 75. You went 75 under, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like 75, 76 under.
Yeah, and the air was not fast. So you got a lot of potential there.
I figured I had so you can dial the index because you don't really know when. I figured I went to Lance. I'm like, I don't know, what's this thing gonna run? 11, maybe 1190, 1180. And he looked at me like I had 3 heads. Like, it's gonna do better than that. I'm like, I just can't foresee. Like, this thing hasn't been down the track. I don't know what I'm doing. So I got my time slip, and like I said, it was 75, 76 under. I was like, welcome to the line performance. I was pretty excited. But yeah, it was fun to get back in the track. It was fun to be with the people. And it was, for all the rain and stuff, it was actually, I mean, they made things happen. I thought for sure you guys were all going to still be racing on Monday. Like,
yeah, no, the staff there at Brainerd International Raceway and NHRA, they did a great job of getting the race in, and and it turned out to be a beautiful day on Sunday. But even the couple of rain showers we had there on Saturday, I mean, they were rushing cars, getting cars down the track, and getting the race in, and they did a really good job of getting the program all put together with the weather challenges that they had there a little bit. So
the one thing
it made it a little bit stressful for us racers, especially when you're racing more than one class, as I can attest to, but it worked out really good. So
I always like going to Brainerd. You see just the people you run into. Like, I should know the lady at the ticket booth, when she gives
Chrissy.
your tickets. Chrissy is one of the nicest people to ever hand somebody a losing ticket. Like, she feels worse than you do. Like, I just love her. And the other people that are always friendly and smiling happen to win. So how cool is that? And that's actually
our guest
today, Tracy Fairchild.
Hi, guys.
How can you stay so positive all the time living in Minnesota?
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I like the cold weather.
I've never been to Brainerd and not seen you. Just, you guys are always so happy and smiling and pleasant. I mean, you're just like, how do you not like going there?
Yeah, it's an enjoyable place. They have a good staff at that track. Like you said, Chrissy in the ticket booth. Even when you lose, when you get to her, she's always got a kind word. She's got a freezy. She's got a sucker. There's something that's coming with your time slip that just makes you smile.
Yeah, there was a few times this weekend, like I said, I was probably got a couple dings inside my trailer because I was kind of ramming my head against the wall. And come on, everybody's smiling and happy, and just, it's just pretty cool. It's just an awesome place to go. And so, yeah, do you win class every time you go there, or is this your first time?
As well, correct?
No, I've won class 4 times, once with the Barracuda and now 3 times with the AMX.
The thing was definitely running good this weekend. I was kind of disappointed. I saw I had you second round. I'm like, that's going to be tough. But I didn't have enough lucky rabbit's foots to get there. So
yeah, that would have been a good race. It would have given me a race anyway. The guy ended up, I guess I could say I ended up with a competition bye when he melted down the car in the staging lane, so I had a little problem there. But I guess it was a free run, so I'm never going to give it up. But
yeah, all in all, I mean, the weekend went pretty good. I mean, it'd been nice if there was 80 class cars there instead of 55 as far as the quota. But
yeah, with the car count and the room, I mean, there was quite a bit of room there this weekend. There was a lot of open spaces, so I'm sure NHRA has their reasons, but if other classes don't fill, I don't understand why they can't bump the quotas up in classes that are full, and let more guys in. It's money. I mean, if they turn it down.
So I guess let's back up a little bit. Where are you from, Tracy?
Aiken, Aitkin, Minnesota, about 30 miles northeast of Brainerd.
And your AMX, how long have you had that car?
I bought that from Steve Hooter probably 7-8 years ago as a rolling shell. He had he'd had it. I suppose he'd had it for at least 20 years. I know, sitting in his shop for quite a while, just as a painted and had the cage in it and the glass in it, and was sitting in his corner of his shop covered in boxes. The first time I saw it, I didn't realize it was painted. It had so much Bondo dust on it and covered in boxes, I just thought it was a primer. And he blew it all off, and it had a heck of a nice paint job on it.
Had you been looking for an AMX, or how? Because
well, I am a Mopar guy and a closet AMC fan, so just because of that, a lot of the the rear end and the transmission and a lot of the stuff crosses over. So I can't say that I've always been looking for an AMX, but I've been a fan of them for quite a while. And when this one came up, I just casually asked him about it, and he came back to me, I suppose, a couple of weeks after I mentioned it, and said it's for sale. And we talked about it. I had a number in my head of what I'd pay for it, and he hit that number right on the money. I didn't even argue. It was like done.
What do you have behind you there? What's that car?
That is a 1964 Dodge 9-passenger wagon. Candy wagon is what it's called. Yeah, that's hopefully get a 426 wedge for it for super stock. It's been a bracket car for years. Hadn't run a 500-inch 440 in it that Lance has built. Right now, it's just a roller. I pulled the engine out and sold it to another guy who broke his engine, and he was kind of in a bind. So I wasn't running it, so I made him a deal on the engine, and now I'm thinking about doing a super stock motor for it.
Cool. What class would that be in then, Tracy?
Well, it depends on, because there's 3 different wedge engines that it'll run in. The the street, the low compression, the high compression. So I've been talking with Gene Mosbeck a little bit about it and what a good idea would be, where to put it. That thing will run anywhere from, I think it's say super stock E up, probably about 7 or 8 other classes, depending on which engine you put in it.
What transmission do you have? Is that going to be an auto car?
Yeah. It'd definitely be an automatic car. It just like the AMX, it's an auto car. It does have 3 pedals in it, but that was from the factory. I've just kind of tied the brake and the clutch together and use them as a single pedal now. Got my 2-step on the clutch and use the brake pedal for the brake.
Great. Now we got 4-speed going to try to convert you every time they knows there's 3 pedals in there.
I like the idea, and I think it would be a lot of fun. Lance, started doing it now when he bought Lynn's car, and I know he really enjoys it. But I also see Johnny, I see Dirk Olson between every round on their back, underneath it, with the front end in the air. And I don't know. I kind of like not doing that, and it's a whole other thing to learn. It looks like fun, but I don't know about the maintenance. Are you going to defend yourself on that, John, or am I right?
In a stocker like your AMX straight,
well, we may have to try to reconnect Johnny. Hey, John, why don't you pull out of the?
I'm trying, yeah.
No,
you're
back out and
AMX.
See if you can back out and jump back in. See if that makes a difference with your connection.
That's the problem when you practically live in Canada. I don't know if cell service actually goes that far.
It's slower because it's on the metric system.
Nice. Or it's in French.
He's got a can that has to come with a string to the next nearest telephone tower.
If it's not tight enough, it doesn't want to work.
Oh, that's too funny. So do you work at the track or help at the track? I see like you guys are always running around.
Yeah, I volunteer. The wife and I are both Division 5 tech inspectors. So she started doing that just to fill time between rounds, and we both got licensed, and now she kind of does that full time when we're at the track, and I do it when I'm not racing. The other events they have, the bracket events I tech and stuff like that, the special events they have.
Oh, that's nice. So there was actually a car tore down this weekend, wasn't there?
There was. Larry Curtis managed to put a big number on the board with that Challenger, and I kind of be curious tomorrow to see what NHRA has to say on that one.
Yeah, he was flying purposefully, I guess, but
yeah, that's what he said. He
I don't know if he'll be as excited about it next week, but hey.
They were meant to be run, and if they were factored soft and he thinks it's soft and wants to toughen the car up a little bit, I guess he's on his way.
Well, I heard that it's just hard to run and try to detune, and it is. I think, you talk about, I don't really have this issue yet, but the guys that are super fast to try to detune them and make them run consistent, they struggle with that. So
sure,
I guess maybe there is an advantage to putting some weight on it just so you don't have to detune it as far, but he went 140 something under.
Yeah. Yep. I think I heard something about maybe 26 or so horsepower on it. That'll drop him a few classes.
Yeah.
He's in H right now, and that's a stick car. So,
Johnny, you're back. Do you have a?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Can you hear me?
We can. The video's a little glitchy, a little bit, but we'll carry on. See how it goes.
It's that you got to pull the string a little tighter that you wrapped around your phone. Being up in Canada, you got to tighten the string up.
Yeah. You guys must be talking about Larry Curtis's, and yeah, that combo has been soft since it first come out, and Larry's been working on that car for quite some time to make it fast, and he did what he wanted to do there. So congratulations to him, but he's going to get a little present from NHRA, I think.
Yeah.
So, and yes, Tracy, I am going to have to defend because your car with a stick in it would be a great combo, and it would not be a high maintenance deal once you got it tweaked in. So
you're probably right. Yeah.
So, John, are you saying that when you lay under your car, it's more just as relaxation at the track?
Well, it depends what I got going on, but I did race for about a year and a half with making very few adjustments to my car. Now I did wear that clutch out this weekend in Brainerd. I had put my old clutch back in it and had freshened about 2 years ago. So I did have to I think I made 2 or 3 base pressure adjustments over the course of the weekend. And, but it was working great the last 2 runs there. And it takes me about 5 minutes to do it. So.
The nice thing about a Roadrunner is there's a lot of shade under there. No, so the AMX, what do you have to weigh then to be in D? Is that that's a pretty light car, isn't it? I'm guessing.
Is. 3085 is the D minimum, and I've got weight in it just to make that. It's a light car. It was originally, when I built the car, it was originally a D car, and so I was running it down in C, and I could run it pretty much without weight in it in C. That it was, I think, 28. I'm trying to remember what C was for it. I think right around 2850 or so, 2875, and it would make that with no weight in it. And then I got horsepower taken off, and it became a natural E car, and so now I got to throw a little weight in it to run D.
Well, to make C this weekend, I was 3,600 and whatever 5 pounds. Like, that's a lot of weight. That's the heaviest I've ever run that car. And
yeah, that would make me nervous on axles, on transmissions, on all that other stuff. That wagon behind me. That's in that realm, and but that's got a Ford 9-inch in it. So
yeah, that's a good thing I borrowed a set of gears. Thanks, J-Rod. He last minute 2-dayed me a set of 514s because I'd broke my other set, so I had to throw those in to try to make things work. And like I said, it took a village to make that car down the track. I just disappointed I only got to really go down at one time, but
it had to be pretty exciting to finally be back out with it, though.
Man, it was just cool. Like I said, it was fun to. And you know, it's what do you do? It's just the world we're in, right? Like, people are waiting on everything. So I mean, it takes time. And it went probably twice as fast as I was expecting it to for the first time down the track. So that really made it exciting because I had pretty low expectations. I mean, you can have the right parts and the right things, but I mean, you've been working on these cars long enough. They don't just go down the track fast. You know, it takes a lot of time and a lot of massaging.
It does. Yeah. It's if you want to go fast, you got to work at it, and it's not just you can't just drop the engine and leave it. There's just way too many things to do.
Probably the only sad thing is the tightening the bolt on the ground strap and going 75 under are probably the easiest speed I'll ever pick up by tightening one bolt, you know. And
well, if all the ideas everybody gives you that tells you you're going to gain 500ths or a tenth from work for you, you're going to have a 2-second under car in no time. For me, they never seem to work that way. I can make adjustment after adjustment, and nothing ever really seems to help. But it's getting there. We're picking away at it slowly but surely. I got a lot of time into this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you were running darn good on that thing.
Yeah, I qualified, I think about 90 under, I want to say, which for the air we had wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was the correction factor was when we went 109, I think, when we qualified, 108 maybe for elimination, something like that, I think is roughly what I was showing.
Yep, no, you're right in that area.
I mean,
about, that's 3,030 or about 3,300 feet, I think, was the corrected elevation.
You know, it would have been nice, like, I actually loved like Friday, or, you know, what was it, Saturday morning when we raced, you know, the overcast sky, like no sun. Like when that sun came out, it was freaking hot. But
yeah, hot and humid. The humidity came back out, and the barometer dropped to 28, whatever. I saw 28.42, I think, at one point, which is, you know, typical Brainerd. A lot of water in the air, and it's slow. But
yeah, not an easy place to go fast.
No, but if you can make stuff fast there, you'll really get excited when you go somewhere else.
Yeah, definitely. So you've got, which motor are you running in the AMX? I think maybe you said that, but
390.
Yep. Okay. And does Lance do that motor?
He does. Yeah.
Has that been, how long have you been running that?
Oh, this in its current configuration, probably 3 or 4 years. The engine that came with the car when I bought it had been built by somebody else, and we just put it in to sort the car out. And I probably ran it 2 or 3 years with that engine. It would run maybe 3/10 under the index, C index. It maybe run 11 to 11 teens in C at the time. It wasn't. I wasn't setting the world on fire, but it was. I knew there's things we could do with it, and I knew that the engine that was in it had 20-year-old technology. So I thought, there's some improvement to be made here. And Lance hadn't. I'm trying to think if he had told me he had done an AMC before or not. I'm guessing probably not. I know he's pulled his hair out a number of times over this one, but he's got it working good now.
It looks like John has transported himself to the out of doors. We'll see if that helps.
He quick drove over to Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, I went outside my shop. I don't have the Wi-Fi working in my shop yet, so I'm literally sitting in the yard here. But thanks for letting me back.
So, what transmission do you run in the car now?
904, 998, I guess technically, if you're an AMC guy.
Technically, an AMX, you could pick which one you wanted, right?
I know the Jeeps came with turbo 400s, so I've been told that's an option, but I don't see why I would want to run something like that.
Yeah, the Mopar 904 is probably one of the most efficient things there's out there. I mean,
yeah,
it's what every Pro Trans is based off of. So,
yeah, I don't know why I would do it. It's the transmission shield is the issue. I kind of would be nice to have an SFI case. Right now, I'm running a blanket. I don't like the blankets. They get in the way of everything. They mess up the linkage. It's just a pain. But I did just before we went on the air. I was surfing one of the aftermarket parts houses and found a shield for the 904 AMC. So I'm going to order one and see if I can make it fit.
It seems like those are a lot of that's like a Johnny specialty there: cut and chop and finesse and pound and.
No pounding.
You might as well get like the old style, like metal pounder, like the English wheel. What's that one called?
Yeah, we planishing hammer, English wheel. Yes, we can do all that. Yes, Brian.
Yes.
So while I was gone, guys, did you get the chance to talk about Tracy's performance there this weekend and kind of go through the race with him?
That's where we're at right now.
So Tracy, was the car working good right out of the gate, or did you have to do any tuning? Because I know we had a few weather swings there, and the humidity was, unusually high with the rain and stuff. Or did you kind of just leave it the way it was and run it that way?
No, unfortunately, I can't leave it the way it is right now. I have a carburetor that has motion sickness right now, so every round is a tuning. I'm tuning on it almost just about every round. I got quite a few rounds in, and then the O2s weren't looking real good. As the air gets worse, it gets fat, and I need to figure out a way to get more air in it. Jason built the carburetor for me, and Jason was here this weekend, so which worked out great for me. I had been tuning on it, testing up in Fargo a couple weeks ago. Lance and I went up there to test, and I got Jason on the phone, and he helped me quite a bit. We made some headway, and said he'd be available for the Nationals. He didn't tell me he was going to be there in person, so that worked out great for me. He put his mad scientist hat on and went to work, and we made some gains. And it's tough to dial when you're making changes between rounds, but that's kind of what you do. The key is to improve the performance of it, so you just kind of take a stab at it, and it worked for me this weekend. It's generally when I'm not thinking about my driving, when I'm worried about other things, is when I do the best.
Yeah, I find that's true quite a bit as well. So if you think, you can definitely overthink this sport when it comes to the driving aspect.
Yeah.
I always kind of feel like it's not the thing that you think is going to get you when you get to the track. Like, there's always like, oh man, I hope it cut a good light. And you'll be like teens, but a ground strap's loose or something like a flat tire. It's always some random thing that you overlooked or missed that maybe I'm just ill prepared.
Well, you generally are, Brian.
Yeah, I think Hot Mess Racing would be a good name for the Anderson Racing team, but
HMR.
Yeah.
So how did the race play out for you, Tracy? I was busy with all I had going on there, but who'd you have first round?
Oh, sure. Now you're going to make me think. Who did I have first round? I'd almost have to look at the list.
So first round.
Who was it? You got the list in front of you, Brian?
Yeah, let's see.
Age does this to you.
You had Larry Dick.
That's right. Larry Dick from, I believe he's from factory stock B car. I think he was from Winnipeg or up in Canada there.
Yep.
North of John somewhere. Yep. Yeah, I had him first round. And
so I would say, looking at the lights, the clean tree was an effect on him.
Yeah, he got a jump.
You were 26 and he was 267 red.
Okay, I knew he was pretty red, but I couldn't remember. I thought it started with a 2. So yeah, that one that was round 1, and then that worked out in my favor.
That was going to be a tough one though. He went 934 with a 6 on a 934. So
yeah, he had the back end figured out.
And then you had a bye second round because Mike had his troubles there.
Yep. Mike Barrett broke a starter, swapped the starter out, and the hot lead on the starter was up against the block. Didn't realize it, or close to the block, and it started and made it up to staging fine. But when he got into staging and hit the key again, he heard a pop, and then smoke started rolling out of the hood and melted all the rubber off the positive cable. So that was the end of Mike's run right there. So I had a competition by second round.
Do you feel that gave you, like, I noticed you were dialing like a 68 going into that, then going in after your bye, you went into the 66s. Does that give you a good idea what your car is going to run?
It does if you leave it alone. But like I said, we weren't leaving that carburetor alone. So I was putting a number on it that I knew it would run. And I've got more brake pedal than I do throttle. So I just thought, well, like if I get there too soon, I know what to do.
But, round 3, you were still solid. You had a 27 light again. You were there.
Yeah. Who was that now?
You were against Russ Spear.
That's 50, right. Russ. And that was I was nervous on that one. Russ has been running really good this year and going rounds. And this was really my first race of the year. I've been out because of the parts shortage, like everything else, and so I knew I had some rust that test in Fargo helped me a little bit with the lights, and I was hitting the practice tree hard this weekend because I know I needed it, and I was nervous against Russ, but I got that was a good run for me. That was real. I was happy when I beat him.
And that was a double breakout, but I'd say your work definitely paid off. A 27 against a 50 light, that's the difference on a double breakout.
Yeah.
You were in a better position going in.
Yeah. That was I made the right decision on that one. That worked out well. And that round against Russ is what gave me the confidence, because that was when I looked at how things were playing out, I knew that was going to be a tough run. So, and of course, the fourth round was no pushover either. Don't get me wrong. That Gene Mosbeck, anytime you've got Gene Mosbeck in the other lane, you've got to have a light.
How did that? Let's talk about that round against me and Gene. What was your strategy there?
Nothing. Cut a light and beat it and play it smart at the finish line. You don't overthink it with Gene. The cars are, we're trying to. I don't remember what he was dialed. Probably in the 40s. Not a whole lot faster than me.
He was a 63. You were a 1066. You guys were.
Yeah, but he was holding on that one. He when I looked over at him, I was in the left lane. I looked over at him in the right lane. At half track, he was already beside me, and I thought, there is no way I was that late. And I knew that car was faster than that 63. And it was like, we got to the stripe and I cut him loose and he took the stripe by probably half a car. And that worked out in my favor. I knew there was no way that my light had been that bad. And it worked out. It was, I don't remember the lights, but it wasn't a bad light.
So you were 42 and he was 55. And I'd say that's another classic case. You had the starting line advantage and it changes that whole image and he just got on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Going into round 5, you got our good buddy Glenn DeMang.
Glenn, my teammate, that I've never beat Glenn.
And Glenn was driving killer. He was 00 the round before he raced you there, Tracy.
Yep.
He was really rolling there. And when Glenn gets rolling, boy, he is dangerous.
He is. And that of course was Sunday morning. And so I had all night to sleep on that one and I did not sleep well. I was thinking about it all night as, how is it going to go and how well of I knew he was 00. And when we were in stage and I kicked his shoes a couple times when we were standing there talking to each other and he looked at me like, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to kick a couple hundreds into that foot. And he kind of looked at me and smiled and he said, well, quit kicking because he might be doing it. So it worked out. I don't know that was what did it, but it.
Well, you were 10 and he was 124. So if it was 2 kicks, each kick's worth about 5, I guess.
Yeah, he missed the tree on that one. That was the first time I've ever beat Glenn. We've run each other a lot and I've never been able to get by him.
But still, he was 10. He went dead on with an 8 in that round. I mean,
he went dead on with an 8. He said he was coasting. He would have broke out. I mean, he was holding a little, so he was coasting when he crossed the line. He knew it wasn't going to happen. With that much of a difference in lights, I had a pretty good lead on him. I was out of it pretty early too.
So yeah, I mean, you just, like you said, you were solid when you need to be solid, and it was you drove really well, and I think every single time you had the advantage on the line. So I mean, that was key. Until
I did. The final round was my lucky round. I had no business winning that round with that light. I don't know. I guess I just missed the tree. I think I was 61 or 62, something like that. Not one of my for the final round. That's not where you want to be. And Ron was dead on. I want to say he was 00 the round before.
He was 003, I think, the round before Tracy.
Yeah, and I want to say dead on with the
dead 5.
Yeah, he was dead 5 against Brett.
I knew it
against Brett Spear.
Yep. So and when you're going to be an 8-pack, you need it on Spear. I mean, that's the perfect round in that situation. Like, Spear is always deadly, and like Ron deserved to be in the final. Like that's getting after it. If he wins that round, you got your hands full. So
and Ron is a good driver. He's gone a lot of rounds lately with that car. So yeah, I'd
be curious to know, Tracy, between Ron has won the Brainerd National event once or twice.
No, Bill.
Well, I know Bill's won it 2 or 3 times, right?
Bill's won it twice. I don't know that Ron's ever won it.
Okay. Because it seems pretty crazy. I mean, when it comes to Brainerd, it's pretty rare that someone outside the state of Minnesota wins that race.
Well, there's a reason for that. Brainerd is probably one of the only tracks in the nation that actually has a super stock program. So the local guys are there running each other heads up, or, we scale. We don't fuel check. We don't have the technology at the track for that. But we scale. We run a regular stock, super stock points program, and we have a decent turnout. And so the local guys, in the state and the surrounding states that participate in it.
Yeah, they even let us North Dakotans come over there, Brian.
They do. Yeah.
Well, let's look at round 4. I mean, so your national event, you're 4 rounds in. You got Tracy, Gene Wasbeck, Brett Spear, Al Corda, Glenn DeMang, Russ Kramer, and Ron Feist. And, I want to give props to Russ Kramer. That dude, since last year,
he has been driving out of his gourd.
Yes.
He's doing great.
He's the guy now I don't want to be next to. Like,
right.
I don't know if it's Rabbit's Foot or, I mean, it can't be. I mean, he took out Justin Lamb in Topeka last week with like a 3 light, 003. Like,
when he has to be, he did the same thing to Paula Cotton. He was 00 against Paula, and Paula's a good racer. And Russ doesn't get intimidated by anybody. If you know Russ, he's pretty laid back. He's got a real dry sense of humor. If you've ever seen his Facebook Live posts, they are good. He's got a heck of a sense of humor.
I feel like it's kind of like the shucks. I'm like, hey, he took out Lamb. That was awesome. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'd still be jumping up and down.
So what can I, Tracy, that on Saturday night in round 3 there, what lane were you in? Do you remember?
Who was that against?
So you were against Russ Spear.
Brett or Russ? I was in the right lane. Everybody was putting me in the right. I've never asked for lane choice. I generally give it to the other driver. I'll just take whatever lane they put me in until Saturday night. And then I actually asked for it because it was sunset and the tree was washing out. Couldn't see the lights.
Right. And that's why I was asking, because that's what happened to me. I was down to the whatever round that was, third or fourth round.
Were you in the right lane?
Yep.
You couldn't see the 3 ambers, could you? No, neither could
and
I.
I
was looking hard.
As soon as I went up there, I'm like, I'm in trouble.
Yep.
And, I did the best I could, but I was 60, and Russ laid down. He was killing a little to go dead on, and he was 27 on the tree. I mean, he did a great job, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but I want that one back because I had my car. I was going dead on. My car made the best lick of the weekend, and
it was tough to see. There's no doubt about it. We had that one more round that night, and I knew it was going to get worse, and that's why when Gene asked for the left lane, I told him I wanted the left lane too. I hadn't been in it all day, but I knew I couldn't see the ambers in the right lane.
Yep.
And it didn't matter. Honestly, by the time we got back up there, I couldn't see pre-stage or stage. They were gone. They completely washed out, and I thought I had rolled through the beams. I couldn't see them come on. It finally got to a point where I saw one blue dot in the upper right corner, and I realized I was staged. And I looked over, and I could actually see Gene's pre-stage was on, but I couldn't see his stage. So I thought, well, it had washed out too. I rolled up and kept rolling, and I'm looking over to the left at the beams on the ground because I cannot see the stage beam. It's gone. There's nothing there. I did not know where I was. It was frustrating. I looked back at the NHRA guys. I shrugged. I didn't know what to do. I could not see the beams. And Gene apparently told me afterwards he had the same problem in the right lane. Yeah. And I finally got to a certain point, and I thought, I've got to be in. I didn't know if Gene was in. I just got on my 2-step and sat there. And I probably sat there for 5 seconds, and the tree came down. So I thought, sweet. I didn't know where I was in the beams, but it was what it was. It was a tough round.
Well, you and Russ were both 27 that round, so you guys had the 2 fastest lights. And I'd say 60s were, there was 2 30s, 2 60s, and a 40. 4 wins in the left and 3 in the right. So John, it is an excuse.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my old eyes couldn't see it.
Don't give me this. I couldn't see the bulb thing. I tried that on you when you beat me in the final, and you said it was just an excuse.
That's true. You did say that, and I did not let you get away with it. So thank you. So, and I want to give a shout out to Brett Spear there. Man, what a weekend he had. He was rolling in both cars, and then to win comp, that was his first comp eliminator win, and to be jumping back and forth between those kind of cars. I mean, we all know that Brett is a exceptional talent in our sport, but just an impressive performance. And obviously I was racing in comp this weekend too. And I raced, Brett and I were both struggling with red lighting in those cars that react a lot faster than our stockers. And he figured it out a lot better than I did, because he was 20 several rounds of eliminations there in comp, and they tuned that thing up and took out a couple of really fast cars, and just an impressive performance. So he is the man, that's for sure. So
you weren't too shabby there either, John.
No, I was doing.
Did you go 3 in both?
No, I lost in the second round in comp, but no, I've been, I'm blessed to have the opportunity to drive that car. It's not, it's just a kind of a, I can't even believe it's happening, but to drive a car like that at a level like that in a class like that, it's an honor and a privilege. And so I work at it really hard and try and do a good job. And I have impressed even myself, I guess, with representing myself the way I have there. So it's worked out pretty good, but I definitely screwed it up in the second round and didn't drive the car correctly. Not that I had enough to beat Eaton anyway, but he was going to have to take permanent index to beat me. But I screwed that up. And anyway.
But how many runs do you actually have in that now with the 5-speed in it?
6.
I rest my case.
Yeah. So no, I was getting her figured out there pretty good. And actually it's crazy. Obviously driving a Liberty and shifting something at 10,000 RPM is a little bit different than pounding on a Jericho at 6,700 in a big block Chrysler. But, my car's super fun to drive. That car's super fun to drive. But I am way better, way more accurate driving the comp car than I am my car that I've been driving for 30 years. So I don't know what that's all about. But like I said, part of it has to do where I'm just really focused and I'm really trying to do a good job because, like I said, it's a privilege to drive that car. So. And it's not just driving it. It's I'm tuning on it and trying to make it faster. And knock on wood, so far we've been making it faster. So we'll keep working on it. I'll keep working on me.
Sometimes that's the easy part, isn't it?
No, that's the hardest part. Yeah, if I could figure out how to drive like Brett drives, I'd be a lot better off.
Yeah, I want to just touch base on Superstock too. Another guy that really impressed me for being kind of under the weather and hasn't been racing a lot. Man, Mans is just tearing it up. I mean, not that any of us are surprised, but man, he just did a great job on that thing too.
Yeah, he did. I didn't realize that Mike was sick this weekend, but he when I messaged him last night and he told me that, because I apologized I hadn't seen him all week. He said, well, I was hiding out in the motorhome because I wasn't feeling well, but he was obviously driving good, and he had one of the best up and coming stars in the sport there in the final with Wyatt Wagner. Wyatt's 20 years old now, and he's already won a division championship and national events and divisional races. And I mean, he is a talent, and proved it in the final there where he was 10. But Mike, old wily Mike Mans managed to beat him. So
I think, and I had this conversation with Matt Steen, like he's like, I know he doesn't feel well. I'm just trying to send him home, but I didn't do a good enough job. We just want to give him the weekend off so he doesn't have to stay out here. But I think he just has an ability. Like I feel he knows better what his opponent's going to run than what the opponent runs. I think he could dial his opponent's car almost just as good as his own. Like he just, you're a fast car, so everything's in front of you. But having the ability to know, like, why'd they dial that? I just think he has a really good feel and understanding of air and does the research and knows what people are going to run. And I don't know, when I race him, I feel like he knows how I dialed better than I do. And that's pretty easy then when you're just chasing him.
Yeah, Mike is a definite student of the game, and his engineering technical mind comes through, and he is, definitely one of the toughest competitors out there. There's no doubt.
And normally their cars are some of the funnest to watch leave, but I would say the best launch of the weekend has to go to Doug Ingles when Jameis running that Superstocker. Man, that thing was just pretty every time that thing launched.
Yeah, that Doug's definitely got that car dialed in as far as that goes, and they were having a lot of fun with it.
But yeah, it was all in all really good racing, and it was with the weather, everybody was worried about that, and I thought for sure you guys would still be racing on Monday, but they got the show through, so great job NHRA for getting the schedule to run through and all the workers that were out there. I mean, Tracy, that just as much as any of us. It takes a army to make all that stuff go as smooth as they made it go.
Oh, they did a wonderful job. I was with you. I thought for sure when we got rained out, the sportsman classes did on Friday, that we'd for sure be sticking. There's no way they were going to get us all done on, schedule back on track on Saturday. But they did a heck of a job. I mean, they ran us late, but those last couple rounds on Saturday were tough, but it worked out. So
Tracy, you and your wife both work at the track some too as well, correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're both tech inspectors at the track.
Okay. And how long have you guys been doing that?
Oh, probably 15 years or so.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Is that something you just wanted to get into to support the sport and the track? Or?
Well, the wife, Cindy, got bored sitting around the race trailer between rounds and wanted something else to do, and they were always stacked up on Friday night or Saturday morning trying to get cars through, and she just thought she'd walk down there one day and ask him if there's anything she could do to help.
Sure.
And they handed her a clipboard and said, yeah. So next thing you know, a couple years later, she's licensed. And I thought, well, good for her. It gives her something to do while I'm racing. And then I went down with her the next time she was going to license it was at the Division 5 banquet in Kansas City. And I thought, well, I'll go down and sit on the class with them and then go to the banquet and then come back. And I just sat in on the class and I looked at the rest of the tech guys when it was time when Blackwell was going to hand out the test. And I said, well, I'll see you guys later. And they said, oh, sit down, you're taking the test too. And I said, okay, I'm here. What the heck? So yeah, I licensed and been doing it ever since.
Cool. Well, thank you for taking the time and effort to do that. We all appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, and then Tracy, I wanted to ask you, if you covered this while I was gone, but how did you get into the sport? I mean, were you into cars, or did you get into stock, super stock specifically, or did you start bracket racing? How did that story play out for you?
Pretty much like a lot of people. I always into cars. Did a lot of the car show stuff, restored cars for years, and just got sick of what I call the lawn chair Olympics, going and sitting at a car show and waiting for somebody to hand you a trophy. I just couldn't do that every day. And I went to the St. Cloud, Minnesota car show, and they had a swap meet there. And guy had a 66 Coronet that was kind of a pro street car, and I had a 40 Ford pickup of my own. And I walked up to the guy and I said, you had any bites on it? And he goes, nope. And I said, want to be interested in something else? I'm kind of interested in your car. And he goes, what do you got? And I told him, and basically we swapped keys. I gave him the 40 Ford. It was a street rod.
Yeah.
I think it was a fair deal. I brought the Coronet home, started going to Wednesday night street legals with it. It just had a stock 383 in it. Next thing you know, I was talking to Lance saying, I want to go faster. So I bracket raced that for a couple of years, and then found the Barracuda and made a stalker out of it.
And that was a 273 combo, right?
Yeah, 66 Barracuda, 273 4-barrel, M stock automatic.
Yep.
It was a good place to start.
Where did that car go, Tracy?
That's in New Zealand.
Really?
Yep. Guy from New Zealand, and he's racing it. It's on the circuit over there. Of course, it's winter over there right now, but he was pretty excited to get his hands on it. And actually was one of the people that was watching the live stream yesterday, and one of the first people to congratulate me. They were watching it at a pub in New Zealand, the Lucas Oil Nationals. So it was kind of neat to find out that they were rooting for me over there.
So Brian, I ain't got nothing on Tracy. He's got fans around the world. I mean, can you picture the scene? The bar full of these guys hooting and hollering at the pub. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I thanked him for that. That was a pretty cool thing to find out about it. It's humbling, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he got a good car there. I remember when you guys got done with that car, it was a pretty trick little piece. So you put a lot of work into it.
Yeah. Yep. He's really happy with it.
Good.
The thing that's been in my mind since I've seen you on the camera, is that like a 78 Chevy pickup next to is that a Dodge or a Chevy?
No, that's a Dodge.
I can't quite tell if it's a square cab or not. Then I see the rounded.
No Chevrolet in this garage. Sorry, but
like the back of the cab looks good, but I'm like,
yeah, no, that's
about like my 78 Power Wagon.
That's got 29,000 miles on it. It's a 90 Dodge W250.
When's that going to be a stalker?
No, that's kind of my summer daily driver.
Nice.
Yeah. Brian, I wanted to share some of my experience at the racetrack too that I had there on Sunday. Are we getting close to out of time?
No, we're good. Go ahead.
So, Tracy, you seen where I was parked there, and Brian, you did, right? There's just right across the staging lanes from the wheelie bar, kind of in the comp pits or whatever. But so my car is right there where during the pro show, when a lot of the spectators would wander out into the pits, they would walk right by my pit, and which I thought was kind of cool. And so on Sunday, when I'm getting ready to pack up and organizing all my stuff, and we're taking awnings down and getting all the comp car stuff put away, and I had wiped my car off and had it sitting behind my trailer there, and I set my class trophy on the roof because, well, I guess I'm an egotistical maniac, and I'm a little bit proud of that. So, but anyway, I literally was there. I mean, well, I don't know, till 1, 2 o'clock, because I couldn't get my stuff packed up, because a group of people were stopping every 2, 3 minutes, and as soon as I got done talking to one group, somebody else would come by. And your average national event pro drag racing fan, most of the people I talked to didn't really know much about super stock racing, but everyone stopped because they oh, what's this cool car, it's got a trophy sitting on it or whatever. And anyway, it was just super fun to sit here and tell these people about the car, and what's it run, well, this weekend in this kind of air, it was running 1120s, and I've been in the 10s in good air. Oh, is that a 500 cubic inch whatever?
Yeah.
Am I going by? No, it's cast iron intake, stock carburetor. We've got these real restrictive rules, and I just told them about the sport, and I don't know how many different people I put in the seat, and showed them how the clutch and the shifter, and it's like, yeah, you drive it, and explained to them, about the weight and the bracket racing and the heads up portion of it. That's what this trophy. And so it was just a wonderful experience, and that's what I mean when I talk about, the last time I was on and I was trying to impress about how we need to promote our sport, but that's what I'm talking about there is just exposing people to the sport, letting them know what it is. I talk to fathers and sons and just letting them know that this is something that you could do and you could be here, go out to the track, you get, so anyway, it was just a wonderful experience.
I thought it was kind of cool that we actually got to race on Saturday, like the rain out on Friday, but how often do you get to run first round Saturday morning? Is that, it's my second national event, so I don't know a lot about it, but it's just crazy the amount of people there, like just walking everywhere. I told my wife, I'm like, she goes, oh, how is it? And I'm like, there's people everywhere. Like, that's the thing I have never really been exposed to. And it was kind of cool. And you were in the perfect spot. Like,
yep. Yeah. And there was a lot of people in the stands at this race, more than usual, I thought, for all the sportsmen racing. The stands were fairly full, both during comp and stock when I was up there. So I was impressed with that as well.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I'd say the fan turnout for this race was probably one of the, I would have said, looking at the stands, one of the better races NHRA has had as far as fan participation.
Yeah, during the sportsman racing, usually it empties out, but I'd say they were still 25% to a third full, during stock and comp. And the one round of comp, there was a lot of people up there.
Yeah. That's kind of the funny thing is it's like the crowd changes, like, oh, it's the pros, I'm going to go talk to the cool guys.
Right. And then the hardcore fans come up because they want to race. Yeah. Yep.
It's like, oh, comp's up, everybody runs back up there and everybody's going there. Like, it's always a constant flow of people either way.
Yeah. But that's what I mean about exposing the average drag racing fan, the people that just come there to see the nitro cars, and let them know that these normal cars race. We have heads up racing. We have the talent that it takes to bracket race, and it's not a huge investment, and it's something that anybody can do if they want to get into it, or at least support it and be a fan and be interested. And I was telling what social media pages to go on, class, telling them about the podcast and telling them about Class Racer and how to get more involved in the sport. And like I said, that was my point the last time I was on, is if we as racers need to take the responsibility to take the time to do it. I didn't want to be there. Like, I was tired. I was hungry. I've been there for 4 days working my tail off, and I could have loaded up and been home before noon, but I didn't, because I just had this steady crowd of exactly what we want.
And I'll agree. After the final, when I got back to my pit, the pits were pretty empty. There was really not a lot of reason for people to be walking around out there, but I was surprised at the amount of people that I had done the same as you. I don't know why it looked like a good place to put that national championship wall. right on the roof of my car as I was starting to clean up the pit area, to start putting things away. Well, it's good. That's a nice little thing to look over at as you're cleaning stuff up. And I suppose it drew in a lot of people, because I had a lot of people come by and want to talk and questions about the class. People that had no idea. Well, is that a Ford engine, or can you run a could you put a Hemi in that? Can, what do you, is that an LS? And no, you explain to them, and what kind of horsepower does it make? Are you kidding me? And they were just amazed at what those cars would do and the interest they were showing in the sport was really neat.
So really the formula is really simple. I mean, Tracy, you know the right guys in NHRA. Like anybody that wins class, do class at every event and have them park along the staging lanes, and you all put the trophies on the top. Like there's nothing to it, right? Like just win class. People come talk to you.
Yeah. They like to see that.
Get your gold chains out so you can just hang the wally, when you're walking around.
Yeah. Not me, but somebody could do it. Maybe John. I'm not going to do that.
No.
Johnny can't do that. It'll get caught underneath the Roadrunner when he's under adjusting his clutch all the time.
I do want to say at the end of that, at the end of the day, I'm not the whole thing for me was, and I told the wife, if I ever, and I told Ben Line this too, because he had won it a couple times, and I said, I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you turned right, went down in front of the fans, and were able to talk in front of them. I said, I would panic. I would lock up. I said, if I ever win one of these, I'm turning left. I'm going back to my trailer, and I'm going to make them bring me the Wally. Well, before we ran, NHRA guys comes up to us and tells us both, here's what's going to happen. When both of these cars get to the end of the track, you're both going to turn right, and you're both going to go down in front of the fans and the whole thing like that. And I'm thinking to myself, if I can get through and off to the left, I'm still going to do it. Well, I got down there. Safety Safari had her blocked. There was no option for me to turn left because they were pointing. Apparently, the word got out. Everybody was standing down there pointing across the track. They had it blocked off with the trucks. I had no choice. And so anyway, I did what I was supposed to do. And there was one person I forgot to thank when I got up there on the podium. I had the first person I wanted to thank, and you guys can probably imagine who the first person is you'd want to thank when you get up there. And the one person I didn't thank, and that was my wife. I blanked. She was the first thing on my mind when I won. She was the person I wanted to thank. And when Joe started talking to me, I just lost it all. I didn't know what to say. I just kind of followed his lead and climbed down off the stage. And the rest of the guys, the guys, Lance and Ben and Brad, Koivisto, Glenn Domingue, all those guys looked at me and said, you didn't thank your wife. I looked over at Cindy and I said, did I not? And she just kind of shrugged her shoulders and I just needed to thanks guys for giving me a chance to say that. I
more
felt
people
like a heel.
More people are listening now than were listening then, so we're covered.
Yeah. I felt like a heel. I felt like a heel all day while I was working on the car. It's her birthday Wednesday, so I'm gonna take her out to a nice dinner and make it up for her.
Yeah, you saved the best for last, Tracy. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, that'd be pretty tough to walk up on that stage, and it'd be cool, but it's something I'll remember for a while.
Tracy was calm, cool, and collected, and I hope someday that I have the opportunity to do the same thing. And I tell you what, I'm going to be a mess. I'll be balling. It'll be bad.
I had when Chrissy gave me the ET slip on the top end, she was already in a full blown ball, and I gave her a hug, and then I started doing it, and it was like, knock it off. I got to go up there. I said it was not a pretty scene back there by the scale, but I kind of got it together before I got up there on the stage.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, congratulations again, Tracy, and you're a great guy in our sport. When I first pulled into Brainerd, you were one of the first guys to come up and show me where to park and make me feel welcome. And so I've always appreciated that. And I look forward to racing with you a whole bunch more in the future.
Yeah, same here. Same right back. Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
So do you got any plans for Indy, either of you guys?
Oh, boy.
No.
What was that look, John?
Oh, you guys cannot believe the pressure I'm under to go to Indy. And I drug my feet and didn't get in stock. And I mean, I want to race at Indy and have the whole experience. And, obviously it's a dream. But now I've got the whole comp eliminator culture. I mean, everybody. On Sunday there when I was packing up, Joe Aerosmith, Brian Stuffelbaum, David Eaton, obviously Lynn and Doug. I mean, they're all just, well, you're going to Indy, aren't you? And I'm like, so, but yes, I'm probably going to be racing comp eliminator in Indy, and I'm blessed to have the opportunity. I don't know who's going to finish my house or any of that stuff, or all the stuff I got going on at work, but I better take the opportunity while I have it. So.
Well, fortunately, where you live at, it's going to be winter in like 2 weeks. So you got like 11 months of winter there to work on the house.
Yeah, buckle up.
Yeah. So,
how about you, Tracy? Have you ever been to
Indy? No, I'm not. No, Lance is going, and I've been offered a spot. There's a racer that's pulling out, and he asked me if I wanted to go, but I've got quite a bit on my plate right now, and I've got a couple. I've got quite a few races coming up. That is one I want to attend someday. I don't think the car's ready for it. Right. I think it would. I think it's very competitive. The idea to go to Indy in stock is to win class.
Yeah.
I think it's close. I don't think it's quite there yet. So
you definitely have no problem qualifying, but
no, it qualified for the field easily, and it's done a best of 10:33. I don't know that that's good enough in D. 120 under, maybe. I don't know. That was in good air in St. Louis at Tyler's race a couple years ago on Easter weekend. We were below sea level, and that was some magnificent air. So I know it's capable of running a good number, but not good enough to win class. And when it's ready, I'll bring it. It might be maybe next year. If we get this carb figured out, it'll be there.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how Indy didn't fill, and now it's, I know 3 people right now that literally have stuff packed if there was an opening, and they're like, I just don't know if it's going to happen. Like, you kind of have to plan. Are they going to pull out? Because right now it's 5 over.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun to watch. See who wins the A-stick shootout. But what's your next race then, Tracy? Are you going to be going to the Earlville MCR race?
Yep, MCR and the divisional afterwards. That'll be my first grade point this year. I haven't been out. I was going to have to go hard to get grade points, but to get into my local race next year. But I think I just found another way to do it without having to go.
Took care of that problem.
I took care of that problem yesterday. But yeah, and then I'm going to go to the double in St. Louis, the double divisional, and the fall classic in Indy. I think that's a double national open. So I'll probably end the season at Indianapolis.
I think that St. Louis race, I'm going to try to get ready for that. I think we're going to do Earlville for the MCR and then try to go to the St. Louis. I think it was so fun last time I was there. I got to go try again. I don't think the air will be quite as good, but be some of the best air we get to run in.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Like I said, I appreciate your time coming on. And
yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Sorry about my technical difficulties, guys, but
well, now we know outside is the answer. That's all we got to say. John, go back outside.
I'll get my Wi-Fi fixed eventually here.
Jeez, I can't believe, you're just sitting around watching TV all the time. I can't believe you don't have Wi-Fi in your shop, like.
Brian, I haven't had a TV for 8 years. There's no time.
I was actually kind of mean to poor John all weekend, but it was really, really enjoyable because he was kind of in a soft state of busyness. So I thoroughly enjoyed being able to release some of my frustrations on short jokes all weekend. So
well, according to Randy Bong, pitting with 4-speed Johnny, Dennis Alvey, and Andy Kimball, nonstop chaos. So
I'm glad Randy brought that up. I got to give a shout out. I was so busy, and like I said, I'm trying to tune this comp car, and I'm learning as I go and asking lots of questions from people all over the country. But I had Andy Kimball from Vegas. He was dialing and tuning the Roadrunner from Las Vegas. So if he told me to take a quarter turn of clutch out, I did, and I'd call him. I said, here's what I think, and he'd tell me, put this on the window, and am I holding any? And away I'd go. So I wasn't tuning or dialing my car. Andy was, and he did it way better than I do. So I don't know if he knows it or not, but he has a permanent job.
Awesome.
I'm just going to let him do that in the future. And it was so fun to just go up there, and I'm not questioning it or thinking about it. I'm just, okay.
Andy Kimball School of Clutch Tuning and Dialing.
Yep. So it was super cool. So thanks, Andy.
Well, I think the problem is John got spoiled, Tracy. So I was noticing when you work on the clutch on the comp car, John can literally stand in there. standing working on the
Yeah.
and I told Lynn, I'm like, you can never get another driver for this car. And he goes, why is that? I'm like, you're gonna have to get taller projects if you get an adult sized driver because they can't just stand in there and work on it.
It's like horse racing. You got to have the short jockeys. Come on now. That's how you get down there.
Well, congratulations, Tracy. Like I said, you're always in the hunt, and you know what? You and your wife are great people, and it's always a joy to see you guys there. So it's really cool to, a competitor's a competitor, but when great people win, that just makes it even better. So it was well deserved. You did an awesome job, and you earned every bit of it. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, Brian. That means a lot. Appreciate it.
John, you did a heck of a job too for 2 cars and everything you had there. I don't even know Johnny's kitchen was hardly even going. I mean, you even had substitute cookers going on from what I saw.
Yeah, John Dahlman stepped up to the plate and he did some cooking for us. So yeah, I was not cooking. I was busy.
So
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Well, at least it's a John, so it's still technically John's kitchen.
Excellent.
He's a good
secondary
cook.
kitchen.
But yeah, thanks guys. Have a good night.
Absolutely.
No problem. Thank you guys.
See ya.
Yep.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You bet. Well, that was a eventful weekend after.
It was good to be back. Like it was, I kind of missed my family. I'm excited. A lot of work to do yet, but we don't have many races left. That's kind of the sad part. Like,
well, when you wait most of the season with an empty engine compartment.
That's why I was red. The anticipation. That's
right.
Literally had not seen a light or sat in a car until this weekend, and for a year, it's
nice. I do want to remind everyone, in case you had forgotten in the last few weeks, you can help support the show directly by donations. We don't charge for this show. We put it out there. And so if you get value out of the show, you decide what that value looks like. Send it back to us so we can continue having these talks with people around the stock and super stock world and beyond. ClassRacingToday.com. Click on the donate button and you choose the value. Everything is welcomed and much appreciated. It's a lot of work to put this together and try to keep this going on a regular basis, and we want to keep trying. So also another great way to help support the show is actually to subscribe to the channel on YouTube. We're getting closer to what we need to. We need as many as you can. So one of the best ways you can support the show is just by telling more people about it. And that's one way you can do it. Share it out across your social medias if you have them. Any last thoughts before we wrap this show?
No, get your stuff ready and come to Earlville, Iowa over Labor Day weekend for the MCR race.
Earlville, this coming weekend.
Week from this weekend.
Oh, so the end of
Labor Day weekend.
Oh, Labor Day weekend. There we go. Awesome. ClassRacingToday.com, ClassRacingToday@gmail.com. If you want to just send us a note of thanks and congratulations or whatever, or you want to be snide, you can certainly do that as well. Thanks a lot for listening. We appreciate it. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Hopefully, it'll be around this time next week, but you never know what happens. Brian's car may end up driving off somewhere. Anyway, thanks a lot. Have a good one, Brian. See ya.